little friends, and welcome to episode 601 of Good Luck High Five.
That's right. You're listening to a podcast that's for you if you play Magic the Gathering. Whether you can count to 600 or you simply cannot, we are here for you.
I'm one of your hosts, Maria.
I'm another one of your hosts, Megan.
And on today's episode, which you might be wondering, hey, didn't you skip episode 600?
Wow. Good on you for noticing.
But I'm going to tell you, dear listener, we did not forget 600.
We did not.
It just can't happen right now because right now is our Judge Rob episode.
Exactly. You need those Bloomburrow rules and mechanics and interesting and very silly and specific cards explained to you.
That's right.
We need them explained to us.
The pre-release is coming up this weekend for Bloomburrow.
And
we want you to be ready to head out to your LGS fully equipped with all the knowledge in your brain space about how to work with these new and tricky cards.
Maria, when are we playing the pre-release?
We're playing the pre-release this Saturday at 11 a.m. at Lodestone Coffee and Games here in Minnetonka, Minnesota.
I asked you specifically because I needed to be reminded.
Well, show up then. That's when it's happening.
Thank you.
Thanks to Lodestone, our local game store, for being so awesome as always.
Good luck high five. Sometimes it's just Maria reminding Megan of commitments she's already made.
I am so excited to play the pre-release. These cards are so heckin' cute. It's unbelievable.
It's unreal.
It's hard to play a game.
You're going to get to hear Maria make a lot of choices for Cutest card. I sat with her in the office while she was looking at it and literally just screaming like every 30 seconds.
How can you not? These cards are so cute. I just want to squeeze them.
It was either Maria looking at Bloomburrow or a very drawn-out murder.
You know what? You know the phenomenon of thinking something is
drawn-out murders.
Thinking something is
horrifying.
So
anyways,
cute, you want to hurt it. Oh,
yes.
Well, that's not what I was going to type Google, but you can.
It's cuteness aggression.
Cuteness aggression. Yes, thank you. Yeah, that's what it's called. That's so weird. Do they say why?
I don't
have
know why.
This? Oh, it's a study by some Sydney university.
Oh.
Why do you want to squish? And they just have pictures of babies and cats in here.
I do want to hug it so hard.
Oh my God, what's happening in our brains?
I would like to know, just in general, not even around the animals specifically.
I'm curious.
Someone could be like, what's happening in my brain?
Don't squash your Bloomburrow cards. They might be worth money.
That's right.
But we're going to have Judge Rob on today to tell you all about how to play with these cards in your pre-release so you can head out feeling confident. The set's going to be on Magic Arena soon. Same thing goes there. But at your pre-release, you don't have Arena to hold your hand and tell you if you're doing something wrong or not allow you to do something wrong for that matter.
So, well, you'll have Judge Rob auditorily holding your hand.
You will. You can also check out our episode of Commander Arcade, which dropped last Friday, which features the 4 new Bloomburrow pre-constructed decks.
Yes. If you go and watch it and you comment with your favorite moment by Friday, which if you're listening to this on the day it comes out for everybody is tomorrow, you will be entered automatically to win this set of Bloomburrow pre-cons and a collector booster box.
Yes, we are closing our drawing on Friday the 26th at midnight Central Time.
Which is the day before I need to remember to show up at the pre-release at 11 a.m.
That's right. So head over there, leave a comment on the video. You can find it at youtube.com/@GLHF Commander. And you'll be entered to win. You can also retweet our tweet about it, like it, and comment, I believe. That rule is pinned, it's the first pinned comment under our video. So you can get 2 entries if you do that. But look at this bounty. Don't you want this bounty for yourself?
It's an adorable bounty.
And also the episode is great. Watch it, everybody. Till the end. Thank you.
Speaking of a great Commander Arcade episode and this episode, thank you to everyone who makes everything that we do possible by being patrons of the show. Thank you so much. No matter how long you have been a patron, if you once were but had to pause for any reason, if you are a recent patron, thank you. And thank you especially to new patron Brian G.
Brian G,
golly gosh. We're sure happy that you subscribed and became a patron.
That one was easy for you.
It really was.
Who's going to make it hard for Megan by becoming a new patron or increasing their pledge by next episode?
With a very complicated
name over at patreon.com/GLHF Magic. That's what I want to know.
Some other people also commented on Austin last week, like really working the system. Austin, who we totally have a crush on. Working the system.
That's what you can do too. It's so easy. Everybody takes like 30 seconds. You can support this show and actually make it happen. Summers are the toughest times for content creators, so we really truly do need your support to continue to be able to put out this episode every week, put out Commander Arcade twice a month, make everything that we make at the Good Luck High Five, under that Good Luck High Five banner, is all because you all make it happen by being patrons. And you get sweet bonuses, Discord access, puns on your name, early episode releases, blah, blah, blah. You can see it all over at patreon.com/GLHF Magic. Huge thank you as well to our sponsor, Card Kingdom.
CardKingdom.com/GLHF, the place to go for all of your booster boxes of super cute cards. All of your decks, like all of your singles of super cute cards.
Yes.
Everything that you need that's super cute, Card Kingdom's got it.
Hey, if you want to order some of the cards from Bloomburrow, maybe you want to order 100 of whatever we select as the cutest card. We're not going to stop you.
And then you just want to hand it out to people and let them know this is the cutest card.
Or you could make it into a wallpaper.
Oh,
wouldn't that be cute? Oh, I better choose a cheap card. I was just like, that would be a really cute wallpaper, actually.
It really would be, but you would need so much of it.
I gotta pick a common.
Yes.
Okay, so that's in my brain right now. But you can go over there, cardkingdom.com/GLHF. Make sure you use our affiliate link. It's linked in the show notes, so it's easy for you to click on to go over there and get whatever you want. So go and check that out. cardkingdom.com/GLHF is the link to use.
cardkingdom.com/GLHF. Card Kingdom, if you shop there, you're cute too.
It's so true.
It really is.
Welcome to the show, Judge Rob, to tell us all about Bloomburrow.
Oh, yes. I am very excited about cute animals.
Oh, me too.
My last D&D campaign, I played a raccoon as one of my secondary characters, an awakened raccoon rogue.
Wow, Megan, how does this make you feel?
Oh my God!
It was one of my life's ambitions, and my DM friend Judge Eric let me do it. He was like,
I would be playing more D&D if people had proactively told me more often that I could be a raccoon.
You can be whatever you want. And so it's not in a supported character class, but I was like, awaken's a spell that turns that awakens a thing.
I could be an awakened pillow.
Well, it can only target animals
Classic
and trees.
Maria question.
Yeah.
I would like to play as a sentient pillow. Okay, well that's good to know.
Yeah, and so I'm a huge fan of getting to play weird, cute animals. And
what was your raccoon name?
Karen.
Karen. Did you have a little Karen haircut? And did you ask to speak to the manager?
She had a beret, and she was chaotic, evil, and extremely obnoxious.
So yes, great.
Yeah. At one point, instead of doing her stealth missions, he stole the shoelaces from all the enemies. Showed back up. Everybody's like, "Why'd you fail the stealth mission?" She's like, "I stole this big bag of shoelaces so that I could eat them later." They were like,
she
what?
wants to eat them. Oh, I see.
Yeah.
I see. Megan, is this all like something you would do?
Yes, absolutely. Oh, that's good.
Yum, yum, yum. Shoelaces.
Yeah.
Well, Rob, before we get into the mechanics of the set, the new and tricky cards, you always like to start us off with a PSA. What is your PSA this time?
My PSA is you can and do make a difference. Small differences, little differences, big differences. Like, you make it frustrated because you're like, look, I can't change the minds of big politicians or billionaires or whatever. Who cares? 99% of the people you interact with are the people that are near you, that are your friends, that are your family, that are your community. You can make a difference by being better. Like, by doing small things, by, being more positive in gameplay and Magic, by going to your store and really hyping up other people. You feel like it's easy to feel frustrated that you can't make a big difference, but a big difference is a lot of small differences. If everybody did small things in their community, if everybody was more polite, if everybody promoted their local game stores, focusing on Magic stuff, obviously, but everybody did these things, people would be better and happier.
That's a great PSA, Rob.
Great
and
PSA.
it's really easy to implement when you're going up to your game store too, because that's like a small little thing that you can focus on. If you're like, this sounds too big and hard, well, just focus on one small thing, which is at every game, I'm going to tell my opponent something I liked about their deck.
Yeah. Little compliments to make them happier, and it doesn't cost you even EV in the game to comment, I really liked what you did with your mana distribution in the deck, or, that card was super cool, or you sit down in a multiplayer game and you're like, yeah, whatever, play these fun cards. Don't worry about precise format legality. Let's just have some fun Magic.
Great point, Rob. Great point.
Give them their triggers.
Give them their triggers, yeah. Give them their takesies, backsies. Yeah, it's a pre-release.
Yeah, a pre-release especially. Like, like do the stuff that makes everybody have fun. And if they're like, man, my deck is, if they like mulligan to 3 or whatever, be like, no. Draw your opening hand. I don't care.
Yeah,
or like, we'll draw this game and get new hands. I don't like. I want to play some real Magic.
So before we get into the cards, Rob, I want to let people know that in the show notes, the link below this video, we have a deck list on Moxfield that is all the cards that Rob is going to be talking about. So if you're listening to this and you want to follow along with images of the cards, that's what you can do. You can just click on that. So very, very simple. We're going to kick things off now with some templating changes that have happened in Bloomburrow that we've talked about on the show before.
Yeah.
Go for it, Rob.
Yeah, this is fairly minor, but it's Loading Ready Run described it as missing the stair in a staircase. It is the phrase enters the battlefield is long and clunky. They're shortening it to just enters. So if you see when this creature enters, it's when this creature enters the battlefield is what the old language covered.
It feels like if you're walking up steps and you fall up steps. Have you ever fallen up steps?
Yeah. Like
all the time.
Yeah, like I start my step before, like a foot away instead of on the step, and just like right over. Yep.
But soon we'll get used to this staircase.
Yeah, we'll get used to this pretty quick. And note one thing with this change, they might spell it out sometimes. There's 4 cards in the set that actually say, if something entered the battlefield this turn. They said that they reserve the right to use the longer or shorter language depending on clarity on cards. Okay. And so on these ones, they're trying to make it clear, like when a creature entered, whenever a creature enters the battlefield, or if a creature entered the battlefield this turn, kind of things. And so they have some of those on these bigger trigger conditions, but it's like, it might seem weird to have both sets of text, but it's just, they have the ability. There's too many words on cards. They're trying to cut them down, which means they can fit more words, which is kind of a trade-off.
Yeah. Until we all adopt Esperanto, this is where we're at, everybody. Okay.
I don't know if Esperanto would even help that much.
I don't think it was proven to help a single thing at all.
But have you watched the movie in Esperanto starring William Shatner? Because I have.
I have not. I
also have not.
It's not good. And it's even harder to find. So you know what? Forget I brought it up.
It's not good and it's even harder to find.
Harder to find than it is bad is a really tricky metric.
It's bad, but wow, if you think it's bad, you should try looking for it.
Yeah.
I'll read you a review, Rob, as you head into the returning mechanics there's 3 you're going to call out.
Yeah, there's 3 that I want to call out because they're on a bunch of cards. And so they have a bunch of things that are like, they've got like flashback in the set and stuff where they're tucking mechanics in individual cards. But here are some old school ones that if you haven't played like a Modern Horizon set, you probably haven't ever seen. Threshold is the first notable one. So if we look at like Thought Shucker here, which is a rat rogue, it looks like he takes the shells off snails. Blue and 1 for a 1/3 rat rogue. It has Threshold, blue and 1. Activated ability for blue and 1, put a +1/+1 counter on Thought Shucker and draw a card. Activate only if 7 or more cards are in your graveyard and only once. So Threshold is an ability word and it just keys in if you have 7 or more cards in your graveyard. And it can be on activated abilities, triggered abilities, static abilities. It can be on spells that make them better or sometimes worse. It just, Threshold means 7 or more cards in your graveyard. And so like Thought Shucker here, once you activate that ability, it doesn't matter if you go back down beneath 7. The threshold condition is only set up for when you would activate it. Other things might have threshold like get +1/+0, and that's a static ability. If you lose threshold, that goes away. Classes.
Oh, classes. Don't get them confused with Saga.
or with cases. The other vertical frame.
That's a great point.
Yeah, there are 3 different have a stack of 3 things vertical card frames. Classes are reversed from sagas. So the art is on the left on classes.
Oh my God, Rob, I never noticed that until you just said it.
Yeah, it's the easy way to tell the difference.
Wow, I feel like I've just awoken from a long winter's night.
So Innkeeper's Talent here. Every class is an enchantment. This is green 1 for an enchantment with type class. And it has a reminder text, gain the next level as a sorcery to add its ability. So Innkeeper's Talent's level 1 is at the beginning of combat on your turn, put a +1/+1 counter on target creature you control.
Nice.
It has single green to go to level 2. Permanents you control with counters on them have ward 1. And then if you're level 2, you can pay green and 3 to go to level 3, which is if you would put 1 or more counters on a permanent or player, put twice that many of each of those kinds of counters on that permanent or player instead.
Wow. All right.
This is super cool.
Nice.
So leveling, as it mentions, is a sorcery. It starts at level 1. You level up to 2. You don't use counters.
Yeah, I was going to say, is this doubling some kind of class counters on
so
this
if you have an Innkeeper's talent and a second Innkeeper's talent that hasn't leveled up, trying to go to level 2 doesn't put a counter on it. It just changes its state to being level 2.
Because it's not a counter.
Yeah, it's not a counter.
A state.
Mark it in some way. Use a counter, but it isn't counters for the purposes of things like Innkeeper's talent.
Yeah. Use a counter. Yeah. It's not a counter.
Right. I specifically
it's not confusing.
Right. I used Innkeeper's talent here because it doubles counters that you put on things.
Yeah.
Which would work if this did counters, but it doesn't do counters. As far as the class leveling, doesn't do counters. Use some way to mark what class level you are. It's usually
maybe
super
your diploma.
Obvious.
You could bring that in.
Yeah, if you have a stack of diplomas, you could be like, all right, I've got this diploma from 5th grade, and I've got this diploma from 8th grade. All right, cool, we're good.
And this is when I was a doctor. That's just my fantasy of being called doctor one day.
I'll call you doctor anytime, buddy.
Wow! I did not earn it. Don't let me near a scalpel.
Authority is an illusion of perception.
The older I get, Rob, the truer that is, let me tell you.
So the other thing to note, I want to call out Innkeeper's talent here. It says if you would put one or more counters on a permanent or player, it has to be you putting the counters. If your opponent has a thing that puts a counter on your thing, Innkeeper's talent doesn't increase it. So if they, put a -1/-1 counter on it, or they try to give you a poison counter from like Toxic, they're putting the counter on you or on your permanent, so their counters aren't increased.
Great. Love it.
Yeah.
Very good to know. I would have played that wrong.
Yeah, it's not obvious.
Changeling!
Yeah, Changeling. So looking at Bark Form Harvester here.
Cute.
This is both cute and very kind of
and also disturbing.
A little bizarre.
Yeah, it's like a poppet.
It's a squirrel made out of twigs with spider legs in the back.
Wow.
Is that a shell as well? I'm not sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. So Bark Form
I
Harvester.
take back what I said. Retracted.
It's a 3-cost artifact creature shapeshifter. It's a 2/3. It has Changeling. It says this card is every creature type. It has Reach and 2 mana, put a target card from your graveyard on the bottom of your library. And so Changeling is super cool. This card is every creature type at all times in all zones.
So it's a squirrel. It's a raccoon.
Yep.
It's a bird. It's a dinosaur. It's a...
Yep, it's a turtle.
Human.
It's human.
It's an Eldrazi.
Yep, there's a big list in the comprehensive rules. It's all those things. As a note, though, I get this question actually occasionally when people play a shapeshifter. They're like, this shapeshifter is all types. Shapeshifter doesn't mean is all types. The Changeling ability is what gives it all types.
Yes.
So there are shapeshifters that exist out there that do not have Changeling.
There are shapeshifters that do not shift shape.
Sure. Yeah.
I'm just saying.
Well, I mean, if they enter the battlefield and don't do anything and then die,
yeah, they just are.
Wait, there's shapeshifters that don't have changeling?
Yeah.
They're just shapeshifters.
Yeah.
Like what?
Like clone.
Oh, okay. Well, I guess that makes sense.
Yeah, there's all sorts of clones that are not all creature types. There's a handful of like just type shapeshifter that are just creatures that have the ability to like copy other creatures' abilities or whatever.
I see.
And so they're shapeshifters all the time on the battlefield, and then they can they've had shapeshifters for much longer than we've had Changeling.
Next up, new mechanics.
Yeah, new mechanics.
Wait, I got to read you a review of Incubus really quick.
Oh, boy.
It's one of the few movies out there made completely in Esperanto. This is one of those very few movies out there that if you give 2 S's about Esperanto, then you might like it. For all others, do not bother. It's duller than a plastic spork.
Wow.
That's not universal, though. There's a lot of good reviews for that movie. It's a kind of campy B-horror. Anyway.
Okay.
Continuing on.
Yeah. Gift.
New mechanics gift.
Yeah, gifting. We love to give gifts. So if you look at like Dewdrop Cure here, it's white and 2 for a sorcery, and it says gift a card with reminder text. You may promise an opponent a gift as you cast the spell. If you do, they draw a card before its other effects. It says return up to 2 target creature cards, each with mana value 2 or less from your graveyard to the battlefield. If the gift was promised, instead return up to 3 target creature cards, each with mana value 2 or less from your graveyard to the battlefield. So gifting is basically like kicker give away a thing. It lets you pay an additional cost, which is giving your opponent something. But it has two different things going on, because spells, you give the gift as part of the spell resolving. If it's a permanent, well, if it's an instant or sorcery, it does it as part of the instant or sorcery resolving. If it's a permanent, it has a triggered ability. When it enters the battlefield, do the gift thing. If the gift was promised. So Dewdrop Cure adds a target as a result of gifting. You pick the gift at the very beginning of casting a spell before you even pick modes and targets. That might determine the number of targets, like for Dewdrop Cure. Or if you have a permanent, like Starforged Sword, which is a 4-cost equipment, it says gift a tapped fish, which is such... Did you see there's gift an octopus in the commander set?
Yes.
Oh, it's so cute.
Yeah, well, it's an 8/8 octopus. You give away an 8/8 octopus with the gift an octopus. It's wild.
Pretty good gift.
It's a pretty good gift. And so Starforged Swords will gift them a tapped fish, which is just a 1/1 blue fish token. And it says when Starforged Sword enters, if the gift was promised, attach Starforged Sword to target creature you control. And it says equipped creature gets +3/+3 and loses flying, and it is equip of 3.
So one of my friends was like, I don't understand it. Like, is there something about like losing flying that might have some kind of synergy in this set? Like, what's going on?
It's just the art.
And I was like, look at the art.
Look at the art. It's art. The sword.
The sword is too heavy. It's so cute.
Yep, this bird is trying his best. He will hit you with the sword, but he can't also fly.
He's just dragging it behind him in his talons.
I picked this in large part because the art is so adorable.
This is a good luck high five preview card. No big deal.
Yeah. Yep. And so the gift mechanic basically gives your opponents things. There's a variety of things that you can give them. You can give them cards, food, or fish. In the commander set, you can gift players an extra turn, I believe.
Sick.
Which is wild.
Megan, you want this extra turn?
Yes, every time.
Yeah.
Yes.
And so the commander set has a handful of other gifts, but you just give out like these fairly small things. Sometimes they completely change the nature of the spell. Sometimes they like for Starforged Sword, it's give them a fish, get about 3 mana worth of value. It's pretty straightforward. Same with Dewdrop Cure. It's get about a couple mana worth of value out of giving them a card. And for spells, it happens, or for instant sorceries, it happens during resolution. They get the gift, and then you do your thing. For permanents, it enters the battlefield and triggers and gives them the gift. Do note that if you have a permanent that gifted a thing, copying it isn't the gift again. So if you have Starforged Sword and you make a copy of it somehow, it doesn't matter whether or not the original was gifted. The new one doesn't have a gift associated. It's a totally new thing. There was not a gift for your new Starforged Sword.
But does it prompt you to give a gift again?
No, it's only on cast. You make these choices as you cast the spell.
Okay.
If you copy a instant or sorcery that you gave a gift for, it copies that the gift was given and who it'll be given to, and then it does it again. So if you have Dewdrop Cure and you copy it somehow, it will still have 3 targets, and your opponent, the same opponent, will still draw a card.
Right. You can't choose a new person.
Yep, because it's a non-targeted choice. You're just picking, this person gets a card. You mentioned last week in Commander the gift recipient and the value don't have to go to the same place. So you can give the gift to one person and mess up somebody else if you have a gift that cares about that.
Nice.
Which is pretty cool. Lets you make friends and or enemies.
Yeah, I was going to say.
Also note that if you copy a permanent spell, which we'll talk about in a little bit, there's a card that copies permanent spells, and a gift was chosen for that. Again, the gift will happen when it enters the battlefield because it's the choice was made for that spell. It copies that exact quality. And we have other things about that going on too.
Offspring,
yeah. So we're looking at Starscape Cleric here, which is an adorable little bat.
Yes.
And it's black and 1 for a 2/1. It has Offspring, black and 2. You may pay an additional black and 2 as you cast the spell. If you do, when this creature enters, create a 1/1 token copy of it. And the cleric here says flying. This creature can't block, and whenever you gain life, each opponent loses 1 life. The Offspring creatures just make little tiny baby copies of themselves. They have all the same abilities.
So cute.
So if you have 2 copies, if you have 2 copies of this cleric and you gain a life, each opponent will lose 1 life twice, which is pretty good.
So good.
Yeah, this is pretty powerful. All the Offspring cards are quite good. I think that the tokens are so cute.
I know
the tokens are very
cute. We confirmed this, listener, that there will be a little baby token for every animal that makes a baby token in this set.
If you search on Scryfall set TBLB, that's the Bloomburrow token set.
Oh,
and that has all of these tokens. I like my personal favorite might be the token from the Worn War Leader. The Worn War Leader token is this adorable bunny holding this club that he really wants to beat people up with that's bigger than him. It is like
he's really cute.
there's so many cute tokens. There's also the possum that you talked about last week that on the Tender Wild Guide. That one is incredible.
Have you seen the token for Splash Lasher? He's a frog wizard.
He's so cute. Also,
he's pretty cute.
Yeah, they're all super cute. I like Splash Man. He just has those two little fish. He's very happy with this fish. The things to note, I was going to say offspring tokens are full-on copies. They have the mana value of the thing that they are copying, and they remind you on these tokens. So like the Splash Lasher token says this token's mana cost is blue and 3.
Oh, it does say, yep.
Mm-hmm. It's a full-on copy that matters for devotion. It matters for things that care about mana value. If you have something that says destroy target creature with mana value 2 or less, you cannot target the cleric here because the Starscape cleric is, Starscape cleric is 2. If it's a destroy target creature with mana value 3 or more, it couldn't target the Starscape cleric baby because it's Starscape cleric. The only thing that's changed is the base power toughness of the creature. Copying a spell with offspring, again, we have a creature that I'll talk about later that does that, does copy whether or not you pay the offspring cost. So then that Starscape cleric spell copy will create a second copy of Starscape cleric. And again, I got a creature for that later in the set.
Okay, great.
Because why not? And you talked about the seasons, and I love them. The season cards have these paw prints. Yeah, seasons. So like Season of Gathering here is green 4 for a sorcery. It says choose up to 5 paw prints worth of modes. You may choose the same mode more than once. For 1 paw print, you put a +1/+1 counter on a creature you control. It gains Vigilance and Trample until end of turn. For 2 paw prints, you choose Artifact or Enchantment, destroy all permanents of the chosen type. And for 3 paw prints, you draw cards equal to the greatest power among creatures you control. These are adorable cards. They're super powerful and cool modal cards. They're a neat, like, spree in this or experimenting in this space in a way that they haven't ever.
I love them.
Yeah, and so, like, the thing to note is they're modal cards. You pick the modes when they go in the stack, so your opponent knows exactly what you're paying for. On Season of Gathering here, for instance, you could choose 1 paw print, 1 paw print, 1 paw print, and then the 2 paw print mode. So you put +1/+1 counter on a creature you control against Vigilance and Trample 3 times. That doesn't target. Then you choose Artifact or Enchantment and destroy all permanents of the chosen type. That one is a choice on resolution. And so you get to decide on resolution if you're destroying artifacts or enchantments. But you do the things in order. So if you choose 1/1/3 for your total of 5, you would put a +1/+1 counter, give Vigilance and Trample, put a +1/+1 counter, give Vigilance and Trample, and then you draw cards equal to the greatest power among creatures you control. So you could put both counters in the same creature, so that you could draw two more cards from this.
Nice.
And you do all of the things for the first one, then all of the things for the second one, all the things for the third one, depending on how many you have of each. And so it's all like 1/1/3.
Great.
So I think they're super cool. They're what I want out of big splashy cycle spells in the set.
Absolutely.
This is a very much I like the commands. They're unrelated to the set and they're just good.
Forage is up next.
Yeah, Forage. It's one of the most flavorful abilities ever made, I think.
Yeah.
Green and 3. So we're looking at treetop sentries here. It's green and 3. It's a creature squirrel archer. It's a 2/4. It has reach, and when it enters the battle, missed that step. You may forage. If you do, draw a card, and then it reminds you to forage. Either exile 3 cards from your graveyard or sacrifice a food.
Love it. So cute.
Yep. The little squirrels are
They're
here
foraging.
to. Yep, they're here to forage, and so you get the choice when you go to forage. If you do one or the other, if you have neither of the things, you can't choose to forage. And you can't do it partially. So you don't get to like exile 2 cards if you don't have 3 cards to exile in order to forge. You need at least 3 cards.
You got to get the whole nut.
Yep.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Not just the cap.
Yep.
Yep.
The little hat on the acorn.
Nope.
Yep. Complete nut.
Okay.
Valiant. So Heartfire Hero here is single red for a 1/1 mouse soldier. It has Valiant. Whenever Heartfire Hero becomes the target of a spell or ability you control for the first time each turn, put a +1/+1 counter on it. And it says when Heartfire Hero dies, it deals damage equal to its power to each opponent. So Valiant, you talked a little bit about last week. It looks like nerfed Heroic, but it's actually more powerful in some ways.
I know, because we forgot that you can target with
abilities.
ability.
Activated abilities and triggered abilities will trigger this, which means that if you have If you have Outriders in Cord or Shuko, you can trigger this, which is why it's
Look, wow, why are we saying it?
Look, I know that we all have trauma, and I agree.
Us now.
Is Shuko here now, Rob?
Sit in the room with us. The point being is that this triggers from spells and abilities that you control, and anytime that this gets targeted by a spell or ability you control, it triggers. Valiant is an ability word, so everything is spelled out on the card for all the Valiant cards. They all do different things under the trigger condition. Hardfire Hero here just gets big, and that's perfectly great. Like there's a bunch of Valiant creatures that do a bunch of different things, and I'll call out a couple triggered abilities that can target Valiant things that are a little weird later. And Expend. So we're looking at Hoarder's Overflow here.
This is Megan with all her shoelaces.
It really is. There I am, standing on my trunk full of shoelaces.
That you're going to eat later.
Yep.
Red and 1, it's an enchantment. When Hoarder's Overflow enters, and whenever you expend 4, put a stash counter on it. And then it reminds you, you expend 4 as you spend your 4th total mana to cast spells during a turn. Red 1 and sacrifice it. Discard your hand, then draw cards equal to the number of stash counters on Hoarder's Overflow. So expend just counts the mana that you spent on spells over the course of the turn. It'll see things that were done before it, and it won't count things spent on abilities or to pay for triggers or whatever. It only cares about the mana that you spend on spells, but it cares about additional costs for spells. Offspring is an additional cost, and so it tracks your Offspring mana that you pay. And it's the total amount that you've spent, not the total amount that you spent while it's on the battlefield. So Hoarder's Overflow, if you play it for 2 mana, you've spent 2 mana on a spell, and then if you play a 2 mana creature, then Hoarder's Overflow says, oh, you've spent a total of 4 mana on spells. I'm going to trigger and put a stash counter on me. The other thing to note is that this triggers above the spell. So if you have that creature that I was talking about goes in the stack, and Hoarder's Overflow's trigger goes above it on the stack, resolving first. It's relevant because there's a lot of expends that do that manipulate library or draw cards or whatever, and they'll change the value of things before the creature is on the battlefield.
Gotcha.
And if you cast a 4 mana spell and then Hoarder's Overflow and then another 2 mana spell, well, you've spent 8 total mana.
And
that turn.
no.
Yeah.
But you don't get it because you've already gone past that point.
It don't know.
Yep.
You've
it has
gone
to be
past
your
the
exactly
trigger.
4th mana.
I see.
And if you play a 5 mana spell, you have spent at least 4, so that spell would trigger Hoarder's Overflow if it's your first spell for the turn.
Oh, that makes sense. Okay, let's transition now into individual cards.
Yeah. Since we're on the raccoon plan, let's take out the trash. I love this card. It's an instant for red and 1. It says take out the trash, deals 3 damage to target creature or planeswalker. If you control a raccoon, you may discard a card. If you do, draw a card.
I just have to say that if you control a raccoon is the text I have been waiting for on a card for my entire life, and I didn't even know it.
Oh, it's so good.
Well, the question at the pre-release is, though, can you ever really control a raccoon?
Under no circumstances are you ever controlling a raccoon. No. A raccoon control itself. Yeah. I take that back. Nothing control raccoon, including raccoon self.
Yeah.
So true.
Yeah.
Did you hear the news story about those raccoons that are targeting Teslas because they think they're dumpsters?
Yes.
Yes.
Incredible.
Yeah, it's
great.
Also, I love the use of targeting to describe what the raccoons are doing.
These are magic. These are Bloomburrow raccoons.
Orcas targeting yachts. Raccoons targeting Teslas. Well, let's go.
Well, that's... I want to say, I grew up out in the woods in the middle of nowhere. Raccoons target a dumpster. I'm gonna be very clear here. This isn't a trick. This isn't a weird thing.
I am glad to know that raccoons are targeting.
They know what a dumpster is, and they know to check the locks on your dumpster to see whether or not you actually click them shut.
Great.
Holy cow.
Raccoons are tiny devils, and they're very smart, and sometimes they work in cooperation with bears to unlock the dumpsters that the bear can get in and spread your garbage all over an acre of woods that you have to pick. Look,
I'm my dream now.
We're rehashing some trauma from Judge Ross past now.
Rob, you're making me imagine that you live just in the forest, under a branch, and you're foraging out there for your food.
My parents owned a resort 30 minutes away from Hayward, Wisconsin. The middle of nowhere is charitable as to where it was. It was wonderful. I loved growing up out in the woods, but we had our own gas pump because there wasn't
Holy cow.
The closest one to us was, I don't know, there was one halfway to town. But yeah, it was pretty far.
If you want to hear more about Rob's life, we actually did a producer episode segment on that you can look up.
But so take out the trash here. Sorry. The thing that it does, the thing that I want to talk about is it checks on resolution if you have a raccoon. So if you have a raccoon at the time it resolves, you get to discard then draw. So your opponent can respond to this spell, kill your raccoon, and stop you from rummaging.
But if they do, they're evil.
Oh yeah.
Their evil
There's a
is
lot
all
of
heck.
We're all gonna be
Yeah,
evil
this set is
in
gonna
this
make us
set.
all evil.
Yeah.
It's just the nature of things. Brambleguard Captain. Red and 3 for a creature mouse soldier. It's a 2/3. At the beginning of combat on your turn, target creature you control gets +X/+0 until end of turn, where X is Brambleguard Captain's power. And this checks during resolution, and it triggers Valiant. So that's the two things to note on this is it figures out his power at the time that it resolves. If he's not on the battlefield, it uses the last known information. So if they kill in response to the trigger, it'll still see the 2. It'll see the last known power that he had, and it will trigger Valiant when it targets something, which is pretty cool. It's a free Valiant trigger.
That's nice.
Very
Yeah.
nice.
Yeah, the mouse Valiant theme is pretty strong.
Rob, this next card.
Yes, Bushy Bodyguard.
Oh my god. Oh my god, I love him. Falling apart. I love him so much.
I just want to say, though, I think that's a bone that he's using as a spear. It's not a stick.
Even cuter.
Nice.
Yeah.
Even cuter.
It's-
I like a little darkness with my cuteness, as you
Yeah.
all know.
So Bushy Bodyguard is green and 1 for a 2/1 Squirrel Warrior. It has Offspring 2. And so you can pay 2 mana as you cast this to have it enter and create a copy of it. When this creature enters, you may forage. If you do, put 2 +1/+1 counters on it. Each of them forages separately. So you could choose to forage with the Bushy Bodyguard to make it a 3/2, and then not forage with its kid to leave it as a 1/1. But like if you only have 3 cards in your graveyard and no food, you're only going to get to forage on one of them, but you get to pick which one because it's optional. So you get to decide which squirrel finds the nuts.
Gosh, that's good.
Or both.
Or both. Yeah, if you have enough cards in your graveyard or a couple food, both squirrels will happily forage.
Look at this hive spine Wolverine. The next
I'm
card.
scared of it.
I love him.
He's covered with beehives. This is very weird, right?
Great.
So this is green 3 for a creature elemental Wolverine. I think all the
giving me
big
the
creatures
ick.
are elementals.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's a 5/4, and when it enters, you choose one. Put a +1/+1 counter on target creature you control, or Hivespine Wolverine fights target creature token, or destroy target artifact or enchantment. And I specifically want to call out that second one. It is not a fight anything. It is only fight tokens.
Kill baby.
Yeah, it will kill babies. It will kill copies that you've made.
Woof.
But it will not it doesn't fight the parents.
Yeah.
Only children are afraid of bees.
What a coward.
Well, yeah,
Wolverine, you a stinking coward over there, or what?
We all watched My Girl when we were growing up. You know, obviously we're scared of bees.
Yes. Unironically, I looked exactly like Macaulay Culkin as a kid. And I had a fear
You
of bees.
unironically looked like him.
Yes.
I know lots of kids that ironically went around looking like Macaulay Culkin.
Look at me, I look like Macaulay Culkin. Oh, I'm home alone.
Jolly Gerbils.
Jolly Gerbils.
Which is what Maria and I are right now.
Yeah.
Oh, man,
Anyways.
this might be my favorite art in the set, honestly. White and 1 for a creature hamster citizen. It's a 2/3, and it says whenever you give a gift, draw a card. So these gerbils, they're so happy to give away gifts. They're such good friends. Their trigger is after the gift is actually given. So for a spell that is after the spell finishes resolving, because you give the gift during resolution of the spell.
Because you promised the gift.
Yeah, you promise the gift as you're casting it, and then you actually give the gift during the resolution. And then for permanents, it is when that permanent's ETB trigger actually does the thing to give the gift. It doesn't matter if the gift isn't actually given. So if you like have Narset out and you try to gift a card and they can't draw a card, you tried to give them a gift. So the Jolly Gerbils will trigger.
Rude.
It's very weird.
Oh,
but
that's strange.
That's a very unusual kind of corner case on these.
Yeah.
But like they won't trigger until after the creature for creatures that or permanents that give gifts. They won't trigger until after that trigger resolves. The gift is given, and then the Jolly Gerbils will trigger. Moonstone Harbinger.
Now for something completely different.
Yeah, this bat is spooky. Black and 2 for a 1/3 creature bat warrior with flying and death touch. Whenever you gain or lose life during your turn, bats you control get +1/+0 and gain death touch until end of turn. This ability triggers only once each turn. So this applies to bats that are on the battlefield at the time the trigger resolves. If you have a bat enter the battlefield after the trigger resolves, you do not the bonus does not apply to those bats. It just locks in the bats that are out at the time that it gives the bonus.
Yeah.
So
only these bats.
Yeah, only these bats, not future bats.
Not future bats.
Peerless recycling.
Oh my god.
Yeah. Green and 1 for an instant. Gift a card. You may promise an opponent a card and then give them a card. Return target permanent cards from your graveyard to your hand. If the gift was promised, instead return 2 target permanent cards from your graveyard to your hand. If for some reason you want to give a gift and you only have 1 permanent card in your graveyard, you can't do this.
Oh.
It's very weird. If you only have 1 permanent, because it requires 2 targets. So you can't pick the gift and then try to target one thing when there's 2 targets required. So it's
keeping you from making a bad choice.
Yeah, in Commander it might be relevant if you want to like give somebody a gift and only return 1 card. In 1v1 you wouldn't ever want to do that, so it's not a big deal. But yeah.
Well, it's good to know.
Yep. Reptilian Recruiter. He is so happy.
I love his little axe.
Yes.
Oh, who is his friend? It's an ant.
Yeah,
that's
it's a
on
fire ant.
Yes.
Cute.
So red 3 for a creature lizard warrior. It's a 4/2 and it's trample. And whenever Reptilian Recruiter enters, choose target creature. If that creature's power is 2 or less, or if you control another lizard, gain control of that creature until end of turn, untap it, and it gains haste until end of turn. So this is kind of a word maze. It's conditional. It's either he either takes a tiny thing, or if he's got another friend to make him feel really tough, he can take anything to borrow until end of turn.
Great.
And he doesn't have to target your opponent's creatures, which is kind of why he's phrased this way. Because if you have a lizard on the battlefield and your opponent doesn't have any creatures, you can play Reptilian Recruiter. You can choose target creature being himself, give him haste, and attack.
Oh,
nice.
This is a very weird trick.
Sick.
well.
Because he can target any creature.
Yeah.
So if he has another lizard friend, he enters the battlefield and he's like, I don't say another target creature. I just say a target creature. I'm going to pick me. I'm going to give myself haste and go to the door.
I hope one of you out there does this at the pre-release and gets somebody for
Yeah,
free.
this is. I plan to try to mess with people's brains,
That's
trick
great.
them with this. Like it's not obvious that this guy secretly has haste if he has lizard friend. The 2 power limit is so that he doesn't target himself, I think.
Lizard friends also make me hasty.
Yep. Stocking the Pantry.
Oh God!
Single green
So
enchantment.
cute.
Yeah, this is like a child's illustration. It's very good.
It's so cute.
Stocking the Pantry, single green enchantment. Whenever you put 1 or more +1/+1 counters on a creature you control, put a supply counter on Restocking the Pantry. 2 mana and remove a supply counter from it to draw a card.
Nice.
Wow.
Yeah, it is very powerful. The 1 or more +1/+1 counters is if you are putting a bunch of counters all at the same time and it'll only trigger once on Stocking the Pantry. And I had another reason for this and I don't remember why.
All right.
Putting things on your opponent's stuff doesn't trigger it, obviously. And it's a triggered ability, so they're going to have to, you have to wait for it to resolve before you get to draw cards.
I want to call up the flavor text. Sorting the seeds from the nuts is a squirrel folk expression meaning dwelling on unnecessary details.
It's good flavor. This set has very good
very
flavor.
Very good.
Alania Divergent Storm. Red blue 3 for legendary creature Otter Wizard. It's a 3/5. Whenever you cast a spell, if it's the first instant spell, the first sorcery spell, or the first Otter spell other than Alania you've cast this turn, you may have target opponent draw a card. It's kind of giving a gift.
Mm-hmm.
If you do, copy that spell and you may choose new targets for the copy.
Jeez.
Wow.
So she's incredible. She lets
What?
you duplicate your instant sorceries or otters, which is how you make how you make copies of spells, or copies of creature spells in this set, because you can make extra otters. So if you have
This
an otter
card is
offspring,
busted.
yeah, this card
Yeah.
is wild, and like you get to copy anything, and you get to choose. It's optional. You're like, I don't need 2 copies of this. You don't get a card, but it's only the first one that you do each turn. So if you want to cast a spell, then cast a second spell, and you want to copy the second spell, you should do it in the other order.
Wow, Megan just cast to take an additional turn off of this. I just want to point that out.
Oh, yeah, I did. You can draw a card.
Thanks.
No problem. You're welcome.
I was just going to make extra otters.
Oh, well, Rob, you can stay.
That's nicer.
This art is great.
This art is fantastic. It is Coiling Rebirth. It is black 3 for a sorcery. It is gift a card, so you can choose to give an opponent a card when you cast it. This is optional. Return target creature card from your graveyard to the battlefield. Then, if the gift was promised, and that creature isn't legendary, create a token that's a copy of that creature, except it's a 1/1.
Baby it!
Yep, baby it, just like Offspring. The trick is, you can give a gift even if you're targeting a legendary creature. I don't know how Arena's going to handle this. You can absolutely choose to do so. You can, that's a legendary creature in my graveyard. I'm going to choose to give a gift and target it, because it has to meet both conditions to put the token out. But you can still give a gift even if the creature is legendary.
Don't do this.
Weird.
Yeah, don't do this. It's very strange.
But you
remind your
can.
opponent. Yeah, if your opponent's like, I want to give you a gift and return this, Aliana, and you're like, I would like to draw a card and have you not get a thing. At the pre-release, just tell them that they shouldn't give you a card.
Yeah.
For the common good, green XX. Sorcery. Create X tokens that are copies of target token you control. Then tokens you control gain indestructible until your next turn, and you gain 1 life for each token you control.
Wow.
Yeah. So something that happens all the time, I had this question at the last Pro Tour, which is, if there are 2 X's in a cost, that is, you pick a single number and it's that for both X's. So if you pick the number 2, you have to pay 2 mana, 1, which is a total of 5. Green and green 2, 2. So green and 4 for 5 total mana. And that will get you X tokens of any X tokens that are copies of any target token. You can copy food, you can copy treasure, you can copy offspring tokens, you can copy anything that you get as a token, like the copy that you get from Coiling Rebirth.
And I love this art. So good.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
There's something about it's so lovely.
Yeah. And I wanted to also say the copies of offspring tokens will retain the being a 1/1, because it was set up as part of the copying effect. So you don't get the base
Power and toughness.
the
Yeah,
base power
that
toughness. So
makes
the cleric that we talked about that's a 2/1 bat is still 1/1s for the copies that are made for the common good. And Castrol, the Wind Crested. Castrol is such a great bird.
Such a good bird.
Blue-white 3 for a legendary creature bird scout, 4/5. Flying. Whenever one or more birds you control deal combat damage to a player, choose one. Either you may put a bird creature card from your hand or graveyard onto the battlefield with a finality counter on it. Or you can put a +1/+1 counter on each bird you control. Or you can draw a card.
Gee!
This is wild. Something that might come up is if you attack with, say, 2 birds, and one gets blocked and is traded.
That's also what I was thinking. Sorry,
Yes.
okay, yep, okay, sorry.
You attack with 2 birds.
Yes.
Your opponent blocks one to kill one bird, and the other bird gets through. The bird dies, and then you get this trigger from Castrol. And the trigger is after that bird dies, so you can choose the mode that returns a bird from your graveyard to the battlefield to return it. Because
Nice.
that other bird got through and dealt damage to a player.
All right.
It's also really good if you give Castrol trample, because Castrol is very difficult to kill.
Yeah.
Finality counters also are a thing that comes up every once in a while. They are, if this creature would die, exile it instead, but not if it would get exiled from flicker effects in this set. There's a lot of flicker effects in this set. So if you return a bird with the finality counter and you exile it and return it, finality counter doesn't care. It comes back just fine and now doesn't have a finality counter.
Incredible.
Sick.
Cheat death.
Yeah, or bouncing it. If you run away together, your creature with a finality counter, it will return to your hand perfectly happily.
Birds are using this one simple trick to cheat death.
That is a horrifying sentence. Oh my God. We're done for.
And remember, birds aren't real, so they can't die.
That's
can't
true.
die.
That is true. It's a good point, Rob.
Keen-Eyed Curator. Green for a creature raccoon scout. It's a 3/3. As long as there are 4 or more card types among cards exiled with Keen-Eyed Curator, it gets +4/+4 and has trample. And 1 mana, exile target card from a graveyard. This card's just great. But the big deal, remember, the card types are pickle abs.
Yep.
Yep. And so you have the card types, if you want a super lazy way to figure them out, everything to the left of the dash on a card except for snow and basic. And
Megan, do you know all the pickle abs, the shortcut?
Okay. Pizza.
No.
No. The card types. The card types are pickle labs. It's a card type that starts with P.
What do you think it is, Megan?
Oh no.
Pizza.
The only thing I can think of is pizza. My brain is short circuiting.
Are you hungry?
It's just a photo of a pizza in there, you guys. It's spinning like a disc.
I thought it was a sandwich. I thought it was a BLT.
It is also in there. Okay, hold on.
All right.
I can do this.
I believe in you.
I can do this. Okay.
Card types. Pickle
Card
abs.
types. Oh no.
P.
You want to start from the N?
Go backwards?
Yeah.
S.
Sorcery. S is sorcery. B. Oh no. B. Brillo pads.
This isn't word association.
Invasion of
albatross.
Gobacon. Invasion of Gobacon.
Battles.
Battle. There it is.
What is A? Someone just tell me. Oh, wait, artifacts.
There
Okay.
you go. Yep.
Okay, artifacts.
E.
E. Enchantments.
Yep.
L. Why am I the person having to do this? Legendary.
Because me and
no.
Rob did it last episode.
Oh, okay.
Legendary's not a card
Lands.
type. Lands. Yep.
Lands.
All right, lands. K. Oh boy, there's something that starts with a K.
Yeah, it's from
It's-
Modern Horizons 3. They
it's
changed
new.
the card
It's
type. They
new.
changed an existing card type. And
What?
printed some.
It's new. It didn't exist before. They changed the word. It used
Yeah.
to start with a T. Now it starts with a K.
This is unfortunate. What is it?
Kindred.
Oh, Kindred.
Kindred.
Okay, of course. Kindred. C.
Otherwise, it would have been Pictolabs.
Creature.
Yes,
it's right there.
creature.
So common. Happens all the time. I could not think of it. Instance.
Yes, that one.
No hesitation.
You'll
On the
notice
chair.
instance and sorceries. I was like, got these. We're ready
Interesting.
to go here.
P.
Oh my God! Don't even with me. What is it?
Ral Zarek.
Oh, Planeswalker. Okay. Wow, you guys. We should all be worried for me. I think is what
Do you need a
happening
nap?
here.
I think you just need a sandwich.
I'm so sweaty.
At least it's not sweaty abs.
Yeah, it's true.
Yeah.
Pickle abs.
Pickle abs.
Pickle apps pizza.
Yep.
Pizza.
Yep.
Creature type. I mean, pizza.
Beef.
Yep.
Bacon.
Pizza.
Okay.
Yep. The other thing that I wanted to say, if a card has two types, it does count twice
Yes.
for the Keen-Eyed Curator.
But like
Right.
Rob said, legendary does not count. A lot of people think that's what it is.
legendary and
Not.
basic aren't card types. They are super types, and neither is snow, but that probably won't come up. But yeah, or world, I guess. But we're not worried about those. Mist Breath Elder is a single green for a creature frog warrior. It's a 2/2. At the beginning of your upkeep, return another creature you control to its owner's hand. If you do, put a +1/+1 counter on Mist Breath Elder. Otherwise, you may return Mist Breath Elder to its owner's hand. So this is kind of mazy. It is not optional to return another creature. If you have another creature, you have to do it. It tells you to do so. Return another creature to your hand. And then he says, as a reward for that good deed, I'm going to put a +1/+1 counter on myself. Or if you want to return me instead, and you don't have another creature, you can return me.
This would be good in an offspring deck.
Yeah, it's pretty cool with Offspring because you can recast them. Then you give +1/+1 counters to them. Like there's a lot of ETB triggers in the set that are just perfectly fine. He can also just chew up your tokens to get big when you like hop to it to make 3 rabbits.
Sure.
But the returning another creature isn't optional. The rest of it is just if you return a creature, you get a +1/+1. If you don't return a creature, you can decide to pick up this guy in case you want to like recast him to trigger something.
And he's throwing a bubble at somebody, which is very threatening.
Very threatening.
And he has ghost frogs. Like the chart of the ghost frogs.
Oh, yeah, he does.
Yep.
Get haunted.
Get haunted on.
Yeah, Osteomancer Adept will haunt you with bones.
I love this
yeah.
squirrel.
So this is black and 1 for a creature squirrel warlock. It's a 2/2. It has Death Touch and tap. Until end of turn, you may cast creature spells from your graveyard by foraging in addition to paying their other costs. If you cast a spell this way, the creature enters with a finality counter on it. It reminds you about what foraging is. Exile 3 cards from your graveyard or sacrifice a food. And it also reminds you of finality counters. If a creature with a finality counter would die, exile it instead. You cannot forage the thing that you are trying to cast.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You move it to the stack, it's not in the graveyard anymore to forage. So you can't, even if you wanted to, you couldn't do this. So you have to exile 3 other things or sacrifice a food. And the finality counter, as mentioned, you can flicker, which is pretty good. There's a lot of blue and green flicker cards in the set. It's an additional cost, so it is a cost that you pay as you're casting a spell. Your opponent has one chance to remove your food, basically, which is in response to this activated ability.
I would say there's always one chance to remove my food, and then I eat it. So, better take it away.
Now or never.
Yeah, if your opponent doesn't want you to, have pizza, then they have to.
What is wrong with them?
Yeah, but sometimes they just want to watch you suffer.
They're in danger.
Yeah. So they can respond to the activated ability by removing your food, but if they let the activated ability resolve, you can eat your food to your heart's content as part of casting the first thing that you're going to cast. And you can do as many of these as you want. If you have 2 food and 2 creatures you can cast them both. It's very good. Paw Patch Recruit. It's a single green for a creature rabbit warrior with offspring, or it's a 2/1, and it has offspring 2, so you can spend an extra 2 mana to make a baby. Trample, and whenever a creature you control becomes the target of a spell or an ability an opponent controls, put a +1/+1 counter on target creature you control other than that creature. This is, again, a little word mazy. So the trick is they target one thing, and you put a counter on something else.
Love it.
And so they try to lightning bolt your creature. You don't get a counter on the creature that they're trying to lightning bolt. You get it on some other different creature.
Sweet.
Which is super cool, but it's a little hard to wrap your brain around the first time that you read it.
Yeah.
Where it's like, oh, I get to save my creatures from removal. Not really. They on their way out, they just get to throw away a counter. Basically, is what it feels like to me.
Yeah. And
it's only on your opponent's stuff, so it's like reverse Valiant, and it spells or abilities, which is pretty nice.
Yeah.
Portent of Calamity. Blue and X sorcery. Reveal the top X cards of your library. For each card type, you may exile a card of that type from among them. Put the rest into your graveyard. You may cast a spell from among the exiled cards without paying its mana cost if you exiled 4 or more cards this way. Then put the rest of the exiled cards into your hand. So we mentioned with the Keened Curator that cards count twice. This is the reverse, basically. You have to pick a different type for each of the cards that you exile. So there's a cap on how big how many cards you can put in your hand from this. But and you need 4 distinct cards. So you need non-overlapping types amongst 4 things. If you pick a creature enchantment, that's fine. You can use it for creature or enchantment. But you can't, it doesn't count towards the 4 different cards because it's only 1 card.
Gotcha.
Does that all make sense?
Yeah.
So if you have a creature, an enchantment, and a creature enchantment, or an enchantment creature, you can pick the creature and the enchantment creature gets left out, or you could use the enchantment creature to fill either of the other slots, basically.
Valley Flamecaller.
Yeah. He looks like a dinosaur.
I was just going to say that, Rob.
Why isn't he a dinosaur? I'm so angry. I love dinosaurs.
He's a lizard warlock.
Yeah.
He's a mean lizard.
So Valley Flamecaller here is red and 2 for a creature lizard warlock, as mentioned. It's a 3/3. And if a lizard, mouse, otter, or raccoon you control would deal damage to a permanent or player, it deals that much damage +1 instead. So this kind of thing is really weird with Trample. This increases the damage at the time it's dealt. Trample is a 2-part thing. It changes the rules for how you assign damage, and then the damage gets dealt afterwards. So if you have, say, a 4/4 raccoon with Trample, and you attack, and they block with a 2/2 creature, you have to assign 2 damage to the creature so that you can assign 2 damage to the player. Then this kicks in and increases the damage to the creature by 1 and the player by 1.
Weird.
Gotcha. But you can't pick 1 for the creature being
Correct.
like it will get killed. The
Correct.
Trample doesn't acknowledge that yet.
Correct. Trample doesn't know anything about that. In this instance, it works out to pretty much the same because they're going to take 3.
My name is Trample and I know nothing about that.
I know nothing about that, Your Honor.
Yeah. But this ends up being a little weird because you assign damage to each of the creatures, and you have to assign their toughness and damage to get to the next creature in line. And then you assign whatever's left over to the player with Trample. Multi-blocking and Trample both work out really strangely with this card. So you're going to try to be clicking through an arena, and you'll be like, what? Why can't I assign 3 damage? I've got a 3/3. Well, or I've got a 2/2 with this. And you're like, yeah, but you only assign 2. So, yeah. Eluge. So like
well, it could be Aluge.
Yeah,
like
Is it Deluge without
Yeah.
a D? Aluge, the Shoreless Sea. It's blue, 1 for a legendary creature elemental fish. And Aluge's power and toughness are each equal to the number of islands you control. Whenever Aluge enters or attacks, put a flood counter on target land. It's an island in addition to its other types for as long as it has a flood counter on it. And it says the first instant or sorcery spell you cast each turn costs blue or 1 generic mana less to cast for each land you control with the flood counter on it.
Sick.
So
Yeah.
this is wild. If you've played with Morophon the Boundless, which is the last card that kind of reduced colored costs, Morophon specifically called out that it does not reduce colorless costs.
Oh,
Well-
so that's why this card is like, I do.
Yeah, I do.
More
I want to
fun,
remind you.
I one up you.
Yeah, Morophon has text, actual written text that says this does not reduce the cost of anything but colored costs. And Aluge will happily reduce non-colored costs.
Non-colored costs?
Yep.
I got you.
Yep. And
I'm big fish.
yeah. And the changing things to an island is functionally permanent. You put a flood counter basically to remind you, but that's an island. And
What if
there's
I take the flood counter off, though?
doesn't matter. It's an island, as long as it has a flood counter on it.
Okay.
Like the counter tracks it, but when Aluge leaves, it doesn't matter.
Right.
The flood counter is still
flood
on.
counter.
The flood counter is still there, and the duration of this is set up all during that trigger. So you get to flood a thing and turn it into an island forever. It's relevant in like my Lorthos commander deck that wants to get through with a bunch of island walk.
Wow.
Because it can permanently make things islands.
Very powerful.
It's very cool. And it scales itself up, and it's islands in addition to its other types, so they don't even lose their other abilities. So if you flood your mountain, it still taps for red and blue. So it's pretty good.
Busted.
Kitsa, Otterball Elite.
Our last card.
Our last card. And it's also a reference to, like, the Otters made up a sport because obviously they did.
Oh, look at them with their hoops and balls.
Yes.
Yep. So it's blue 1 for a legendary creature Otter Wizard. Kitsa's a 1/3 with Vigilance, Prowess, tap, draw a card, then discard a card, and 2 tap, copy target instant or sorcery spell you control. You may choose new targets for the copy. Activate only if Kitsa's power is 3 or greater. So this is an activated ability that you have to use in response to your own spells. You don't get the chance to see whether or not your opponent's going to counter your spell. You get priority first when you cast a spell. So when you have Kitsa out and you cast Lightning Bolt and you want to copy it, you have to activate Kitsa immediately. You have to say, I'm holding priority on this, and Kitsa's going to target it. On Arena, I'm pretty sure that you're going to have to go into some kind of full control mode, or it might change the way priority works while Kitsa's in the battlefield. On Magic Online, you will almost certainly have to hold your hold control button, which for me is control, in order to be able to use Kitsa. Because it's an activated ability that targets your own spells in the stack.
And you have to make sure it's still on the stack when that is happening.
Yes. Yeah. And
So don't go through the, I see
if
what
you
mean.
if you just cast a spell, and if you're in paper and you cast a spell and you look at your opponent, you're like, does it resolve? They'd be like, resolves. And you'd be like, no, I want to use Kitsa. They're like, no, this is too late. The way that it works is you get priority first in your own spell, then I get priority, and then it resolves. And it's like, oh.
Yeah, there's going to be some sad people on Arena,
Yeah.
I would guess, but yeah.
It's also tricky. The other thing is there's a prowess trigger here.
Yeah.
And so like,
Yeah.
the prowess trigger happens, you can resolve the prowess trigger to make Kitsa's power big enough. So if Kitsa's currently 2 power and you have an instant or sorcery, you can cast that spell, resolve your prowess trigger to go up to 3, which unlocks your ability to activate Kitsa on that spell.
Great.
Because each item on the stack resolves separately and both players have to pass. But again, you will probably need to go into some kind of full control to do this. Because
know.
it's going to be, I genuinely am not sure how they're going to make this behave. It'd be very annoying if it gave you priority on your own spells while it was on the battlefield forever. That'd be really annoying.
No, I don't think it's, I think they're just like, figure it out, kids.
Yeah, full
That's what I
control
think.
mode, hold control,
Yeah.
play it. Like, you're going to have to call out your triggers and who has priority when really explicitly with this, because it's a very strange ability to be able to copy your own spells. It's come up before, like Echo Mage has this ability. They haven't done it in a long time. I don't think they've done this since Arena, actually. So, yeah.
All right.
Very strange.
Rob, thank you so much.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Yes.
These cards are undeniably cute and undeniably great. I love the mechanics.
they're
I love
so
the
great.
flavor. I love everything about it. I can't wait to play this set.
I am very excited for next week.
Maria, speaking about some of them being undeniably cute and undeniably
Yeah.
great,
yeah.
we need to assign award cutest and grossest card.
We sure do.
I am happy to announce that there is exactly one gross card in this set.
Well, good. You didn't have a hard
One
choice.
truly gross card.
Okay.
Which even, like, this would not be, this would not make it in another set. But because it is Bloomburrow, this is it. It's Huskburster Swarm.
Oh, that's
It's just like
gross
a big,
name.
it's a big elemental insect. The fact that I know it is insect made of stuff is gross.
Oh, yeah, that's
We're not
awful.
about
Well,
it.
That's
I think it's a whole bunch of insects pretending to be big.
No, absolutely not. We're not about it. We're not going to think about it. I also refuse to choose a bat because I am not here for bats are evil discourse. I am here for bats are good discourse.
I don't think it's necessarily that bats are evil. I just think that sometimes they illustrate them to be gross.
That's what I'm saying, and I'm not here for it. Bats are cute. You heard it here.
Bats are wonderful pollinators. I don't
Exactly.
really
They
have
eat
bad things.
bug.
Yeah, they eat bugs. They pollinate plants. Like
They dance upside down.
Yeah.
They're very important. Bats are great. Will not choose a bat. So here we go. This monster made of insects, though, absolutely. But my choice was easy. Someone else's choice was not.
Everyone, I just need to start with this caveat. I'm pretty sure you could label in this set any card in it, other than like one or two, as cutest card if this was any other set. I mean, it's unreal. This set is so cute. Rob here, I mean, I could choose a whole thing. Every card in this set is a runner-up. Every single card. It's phenomenal. I can't tell you how excited I am that Bloomburrow got made.
Yes.
I can't tell you how excited I am, too, that I think so far the reaction seems to be incredibly positive.
Yes.
And 3, I hope it sells like hotcakes because I want another Bloomburrow and because I want to prove to the
we
world
deserve another
Yes.
Bloomburrow.
We deserve cute sets,
that,
honestly.
like, hey, we don't have to print everything as hyper, like killing, maiming, gross, like to have it sell well. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
Like, I feel like I want this set to prove that we can sell cards if we make them adorable.
Oh my gosh.
I mean,
Rob's just showing us.
No, I'm
cute
just
cards.
zooming into random cards.
It could be
Rob's
any
like, look at
card.
this. Look at this.
so I went through the hard job and I made some runners up, but I would have rather not to because they're all runners up, honestly.
Yeah.
I'm gonna say, Megan, did you know they put us in this set?
What? Where are we?
I need you to look up the card Baker's Bane Duo.
Oh my god. Yeah.
They actually made a card of us, and here we are, looking very cute.
Oh my god. It is.
It really is.
This is absurd.
And it's even like what I think we would say, which the flavor text is, "I'll take the crust," chittered the squirrel, "and I'll take the filling," drooled the raccoon. I believe that's what we would
I
want
think
of the
that
pie.
is correct. That
Yes.
is correct. Just so you all know, it's like it's a raccoon and a squirrel looking at a pie in a window and being like, we're going to eat that.
They are stealing
It is-
that pie.
It is absurd the extent to which this is us.
Yes. I couldn't believe it. Our first time on a magic card.
Wow,
really
really
magical. Megan called out this card and it deserves a nod, which is the card Sugarcoat.
Yeah.
Sugarcoat is
Honestly,
so funny.
this might be my best flavor text in this set.
It is. Oh yeah, good point. Okay, so this art shows a bunny who's been turned into a sugar cookie.
It's so funny, and the bunny is just
Like,
aghast.
oh, I've been turned into cookie. Uh-oh. The flavor text is, "Some jokes have the punchline baked in."
Great.
Excellent.
Whoever wrote this, A+, like,
Get a raise.
yeah.
I love that one.
Oh, so good.
I gotta give. So I had a horrible time choosing between my 1s and 2s, but I'm gonna give an honorable side win to this card for the flavor text. This wins flavor text forever in my heart. This is the card Bravekin Duo. Have you seen this flavor text, everybody? There is a mouse. There is a bunny. They're going on an adventure together, and they're crossing a little log over a stream. It's the cutest frickin' thing. They're wearing little backpacks, and the flavor text says, "Did you bring everything you need for the journey?" the rabbit asked. "Of course I did. I brought you, my dear Pinecone," the mouse replied. Isn't that so cute?
It's very cute. It's very cute.
I just think calling your friend Pinecone is the cutest thing that I can possibly imagine in my natural life.
Very cute.
Okay.
Very cute.
Bushy bodyguard, let's get real. This card is the most adorable little guy. We talked about him. He had a baby earlier. He's a squirrel. He's got a cape.
Yeah.
He has a bone stick. He's ready to fight. How can squirrel bodyguard? He's so small.
He's so cute.
I mean, the reason I couldn't end up giving it to this is because he just looks kind of normal squirrel, and like a normal squirrel is really cute, but
All right.
I had to push it a little bit. And you know I'm going to pick a squirrel because squirrel's my favorite. So I'm sorry for all other animals. You all win in your own ways. The number one cutest card of the set. Congratulations to the card Cash Grab.
I knew it.
Yeah.
I knew it.
Yeah.
This little squirrel has a nut in his cheeks. He is coming at you from the frame. He's diving down on you along with all of his cash, all of his acorns. And watch out because he's got chubby little cheekums.
It's very funny. It's very funny and very cute.
In the Commander episode, I cast this card and it literally flies out of my hands because I'm so excited to cast it. I can't even keep hold of it. Oh, I just think this is the cutest card ever printed in the history of Magic the Gathering, and I'm so excited to be alive at the time when I can play it.
Really incredible. Really, really good.
Oh my God.
I have to say that Rob did show us Caretaker's talent is a rabbit holding the hand of a bat.
Oh,
I mean,
With a
look at
little
this.
mouse running past.
A
And
little
yeah.
mouse, but it's just like, oh, look, this bunny bat
Yeah.
is good.
Yeah. He's taking care of that
So
bat.
good.
Bat is good.
we also promised you that we would name Cutest
Ooh,
and Grossest
MH3.
from Modern Horizons 3.
Oh,
Did you do your homework?
Nope, under no circumstances.
Okay, well, I wanted to let it be known because
we should.
we didn't pick.
You know.
We got to pick. So I know a lot of people are going to want me to pick Felia Exuberant Shepherd, which is the corgi from this set.
Oh,
Very cute.
she's so cute.
And I mean, like, yes, but you got to be real with me. She's a little pushed. Okay, they want.
wow, wow. Nothing can be cute without Maria calling it pushed.
Yeah, why didn't
That's
you
my
refer to this
argument.
set as push?
Do you think where's your critique of Bloomburrow being pushed, Maria? It seems like you like to be pushed in that context.
When everything's pushed, nothing's pushed. You know what I mean? But yeah, Felia, she's great. Short legs, I like it. Did you know in Welsh, corgi means short dog?
Great.
So it all makes sense, everybody. But I got to give it to a card which had the first cute reaction in me. Like it stirred the cute meter in my heart, which is Cursed Wombat, which I mentioned on the show when we were first starting out on MH3, which is a cute little wombat that he's kind of mad. He's backed into a corner and he's got cute little eyes and a cute little snarl and he looks like he's big mad at you, but what can he do about it? He's so small.
He's so small.
And
He's so small.
I find the fact that he's cursed also to be quite cute because, like, oh, he's cursed. Like, what did you do, buddy? How did you get cursed?
Maria, you wouldn't think curses were cute if they happened to you.
You little rapscallion. Anyway, so I'm going to give the award to Cursed Wombat, but Felia gets a runners-up award from Modern Horizons 3.
You know what? Here's a gross fetid gargantua. All right.
Yeah.
Woof.
It's
It's pretty gross. People crawling out of I don't know. They all
Pretty
melded together.
fetid up in there.
Pretty gross. I will say Breaker of Creation does have what we all know to be my personal no-no, which is eyes in places where they shouldn't be.
Yeah.
yeah.
So a Breaker of Creation, always, of course, very high up there. No, thank you. Put your eyes back on your face only.
Wow.
Thank you.
Great choices today for Cutest and Grossest cards all around. 2 sets in one, listeners.
Yes.
Wow, you had a real bounty today, a real cash grab, if you will, of a day. Thanks, everybody, for listening to our episode. And thanks once again to Judge Rob for blessing us with his judgely knowledge.
As always, yes. Thank you so much. Where would we all be without Judge Rob? Running amok.
My mind would be a vast wasteland.
Yes. Mine would have one single tumbleweed rolling through it.
Wait, this isn't Outlaws of Thunder Junction.
And the tumbleweed is a picture of a sandwich.
Oh, man. You just said the word sandwich and I got hungry.
Well, there's a tumbleweed in your brain, too.
What kind of sandwich?
Photo of a sandwich. BLT, baby.
Oh, wow. I just want the B in the BLT. You know, that's
So you
my
just
problem.
want bacon.
I just want a B.
Do you want it? Well, you heard it here, kids.
I guess you can put some sauce on it.
I'm sorry. Wait just a second. I want to be super clear that you want a sandwich that is bread,
Yeah.
bacon,
Yep.
quote, some kind of sauce, and bread
Bread
again.
again. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I would eat it. I would eat it.
Thank you so much, Brian G., for making this podcast and Maria's disgusting sandwich dreams a possibility.
Thank you to Card Kingdom. Be sure to check them out at cardkingdom.com/GLHF. Become a new patron.
Yes.
Increase your pledge over at patreon.com/GLHF Magic. Check out our Commander episode. Win these 4 decks and this collector booster box. That's like a multi-hundreds dollars value probably.
Yes.
By going to our
Truly.
YouTube channel, youtube.com/@GLHF Commander, and checking out that episode. Once again, all of this is in the show notes or under the link in the video description. So you have easy ways to access all of it. Because I don't expect you to remember that. Megan can't even remember when we're supposed to go to this pre-release.
Tell me one more time.
Saturday, Lodestone Coffee and Games.
All right. 11 a.m.?
Yeah, that's
I
right.
will be there on time. or several minutes after start time.
Will you?